This video, folks, I want you to know I have notes. Jesus tells me I need to repent. So, in order for me to do that, I need to admit things that I've said and done. And one of them that I have said and done is in my 60 years and what I've thought about the U.S. military has changed. First person I ever knew in my life to ever be in any war, be a soldier, be a U.S. military personnel, GI, government issue, whatever you want to call it, was my father. He was in the Korean War. And I got to make this straight to you, folks. He was not drafted into that war. He volunteered for the love of his brothers, his younger brothers. He was the oldest brother of three of them that were thrown into a adoption boys' home at an early age. Now, for the love my father had for his younger brothers, he was the oldest. He knew that this draft was coming. He figured all three of them would be drafted in. The only hope he had was his younger brother would be too young to be involved. But he didn't know. So he made a deal with the military that he would volunteer to go fight in the front lines in the Korean War. If they promised that his two younger brothers would never have to fight in battle. If they got drafted, that would be fine, but keep them stateside or keep them safe somewhere where they would never have to fight in battle. My dad would volunteer to go fight on the front lines. And our government made that deal with my dad. And I think it was around 1950. And my dad went. I have to say, at that time, the government kept their agreement with my dad. But they put him in the chosen reservoir battle. That's all I'm going to say about that. But he did walk away from that. He was never even struck by a bullet, piece of shrapnel, or anything. He had more damage done to him by his body being frozen than all the weapons that were blasted against him could ever do. He was the first person I ever known, talked to, loved, learned from, that I knew for a fact was in a war. Now, one of the first things about the government I ever learned in my life was in 1963 when they killed JFK. This was a murder of a president in the middle of the day with thousands of people in the area. Many video cameras and photos being taken from everywhere. And what they told us was there was one man, acted alone, had nothing to do with anybody else but him, that did it. And then on nationwide, worldwide TV, there was only 3 at the time, folks. 3. They killed the man they accused of doing it. There would be no trial to prove anything. There would only be what the government said happened. And their story is, still to this day, one man acted alone and died before he ever even got a chance to go to trial. That's convincing to you? Then, folks, in 2001, two skyscrapers in the middle of New York City, probably one of the top 5 known countries or cities in the world, across the earth and throughout the universe, according to the Bible anyway. These skyscrapers were hit. They were built to withstand a commercial airplane hitting one of them because they were so tall. Two commercial airplanes hit these 2 buildings that were built to withstand them hitting them. 2 commercial airplanes built out of aluminum in order to be able to fly high and fast hit 2 buildings that were built with steel girders less than 3 foot apart from top to bottom, built all the way down to the embedded into the bedrock that was under the buildings, to the point that they had large vaults in the basement of these 2 buildings, storing large amounts of gold. Now, these 2 aluminum planes hit the side of these 2 buildings that were steel girdered, less than 3 foot apart, still reinforced concrete and bulletproof glass. And these 2 aluminum built airline planes crashed into them and cut through them like a hot knife through butter. And that's their explanation to today. That's what they tell us. At the time when these towers went down, folks, I knew we had been attacked. Not sure by who. By no means. With the pride I had for my father and what he done when he went into the military, I was walking around. If I saw somebody in a uniform, I stopped them, thanked them for their service and their sacrifice. To the point that my son watched this. And he seen the uniforms that the Marines wore, and he wanted to be a Marine. And he was. When he got out of high school, he went into the Marines. And he was taken into the Iraq War. Yes, folks. My father is a combat vet from the Korean War. I have other family members that were combat vets in Vietnam War. Myself, I was never involved in any war, but I was in the military. And my son is now the last one in my family, I hope, that ever gets involved in any of the wars for this corporation. I'm not talking about I hope I never have no family members that never stand up and fight for what's right. I'm telling you, I hope I never have another family member that stands up and fights for what's not right. And the Iraq War was bullshit. And the Afghanistan War was bullshit. We all know that today. I'm sure there's many people that knew all the other wars were bullshit as well. Iraq War, folks, they claimed was for weapons of mass destruction. They claimed Saddam had nuclear weapons, had the capabilities of putting them in American airspace. Had nothing to do with Iraq. He didn't have none of that shit, and y'all know it today. What he did, and many other countries did at that time, that have now been taken down as well, refused to sell oil for dollars, American dollars. Yeah, when they went into Iraq and what was downtown, you guys know what town it was. I can't think of the name right now. In Iraq, where Saddam was. They found semi-trailers, 53-foot semi-trailers buried in the sand, packed, floor to ceiling, wall to wall, no skids, $100 bills, buried in the sand. I don't know how many trailers they found full of money, cash. We're finding out today the soldiers that went, Baghdad, that's the town I'm talking about. When they went into Baghdad, they carried out, no one can prove at this point how many bars of gold. But they had many, many dump trucks, many, many trailers, all kinds of military equipment hauling the gold out of Baghdad. Not counting statues they had made of gold of Saddam and wall emblems made of gold that hung on buildings and shit. They took it all, folks. All the cash, the gold, everything. Killed the leader. Destroyed everything. Then left. Then went into Afghanistan. Do you think they needed all that to go after a bigger prize? What'd they end up doing? What'd they end up doing? They left Afghanistan, left all the shit behind, just like the Russians did. Nobody left with no gold out of Afghanistan. Nobody left with any silver. They didn't even leave with the shit they brought in. But now pictures of gold. Bars and bars and bars and bars and bars. I guarantee you people, Saddam had more money than Bill Gates, the clown that owns Facebook, Elon Musk, probably several more people combined. He had it in cash, gold, silver, oil. That's why they killed him. Took it all. People, if you live for this earth, that's what you got coming. Somebody gonna, if you get more than them, somebody's gonna come and take it. If you watch the show Yellowstone, there's a lot of truth in that show. If you watch it. People, this is Watachi. Just telling you what I know. You do with it what you can, if you ever even see it. I love you guys. Till the next time.